Y News with Angelo Castro III, William Theo, and Darlene Basingan.
Good evening. Crowds of people lined up in Vegas to donate blood for the victims of the mass shooting last night as the state of Nevada declares a public health and medical emergency. Here's why from Victor Cosare.
Nevada Governor Brian Sandoval on Monday afternoon declared a public health and medical disaster, allowing licensed out-of-state healthcare professionals to immediately assist hospitals after the mass shooting in Las Vegas, which has claimed more than 50 lives and left more than 500 people injured. The order temporarily suspends all necessary statutes and rules to enable licensed healthcare workers employed by a hospital and in good standing in another state to practice in Nevada while lending a hand in its disaster response operations. Meanwhile, crowds of people on Monday formed long lines outside blood donation centers to donate blood to the victims of the deadly mass shooting.
That's why I'm here, to help the victims, and hopefully it'll recover and our blood will help.
I think it's amazing. It's beautiful. I'm so happy that the community is coming together.
Police officers have obtained a search warrant to investigate the home of Las Vegas concert shooter Stephen Craig Paddock. Authorities were able to recover a total of 42 firearms in connection with the gunman, 23 guns found in his hotel room in Mandalay Bay, and another 19 at his home in Mesquite. They believe the suspect acted alone and still investigating why he attacked the crowd.
I promise you the sheriff will provide that information when we have confirmed it. It doesn't make sense for us to put out information that is not accurate and isn't timely and reliable.
The Department of Foreign Affairs, meanwhile, is still coordinating with U.S. authorities to verify information of Filipinos who are among the casualties.
What we're trying to do right now is for our consulate, our team in Las Vegas, to contact both through the Las Vegas Police Department and through the leaders of our Filipino community organizations in Las Vegas, dahil mas mabilis kung ganon.
The FA also couldn't confirm if the suspect's girlfriend, Marilu Daly, is a Filipina who has been initially considered a person of interest in the incident.
Wala tayong official confirmation kung ano yung nationality ni Miss Marilu Danley, whether she was a Filipino before or still a Filipino, or whether she ever was a Filipino. Wala tayong confirmation on that. We're still checking. Pangalawa, she's not a person of interest any longer, according to the official announcement of the Las Vegas Sheriff's Office, dahil nasa outside of the US daw siya nung nangyari yung insidente.
Victor Cosare, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
The Eiffel Tower in Paris went dark while the Empire State Building in New York set the atmosphere of grief after the fatal shooting in Las Vegas. Nina Bascon will tell us why.
Several landmarks were set to express sympathy and awareness against gun violence after the Las Vegas shooting. The Empire State Building in New York went dark and turned its display into a rotating orange halo effect. The lights of Paris's Eiffel Tower in France were turned off late on Monday in a tribute to the victims. Meanwhile, Malacañang has joined the international community in expressing sympathy to the victims of the deadly mass shooting in Mandalay Bay.
We extend our deepest condolences to the families of the more than 50 victims who died because of the mass shooting in Las Vegas, Nevada. We likewise pray for the speedy recovery of the more than 500 people who were reported injured. We join the peace-loving people of the international community in denouncing this latest act of violence.
Heads of states of the United Kingdom, Turkey, Iraq, Russia, Mexico, and Australia also sent a message of condolence to their U.S. counterpart Donald Trump for the tragedy. Some expressed condemnation overall the fatal attack. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu calls it a day of horror, while Australian Prime Minister says it was a completely senseless act.
We saw a day of horror, and the hearts of the people of Israel go out to the families of the scores and scores murdered innocent people. Our hearts also go out to those who were wounded.
This was a brutal and callous killing, completely senseless. And again, our hearts go out to the families of the victims, and we stand as we always do in solidarity in the fight against terrorism.
Nina Bascon, UNTV News and Rescue, Melbourne, Australia.
Department of Health Secretary Pauline Jean Obial was on the hot seat today as she faced the Commission on Appointments, or CA. Nel Maribuhok will tell us why.
Department of Health or DOH Secretary Pauline Obial has faced anew several individuals who oppose her appointment as the Chief of the Health Department in today's confirmation hearing of the Commission on Appointments, or CA. First to question the Health Secretary was Kabayan Party List Representative Harry Roque, who accuses her of corruption and incompetence. According to Roque, Obial has no strong stance in terms of the implementation of the anti-dengue vaccine. Roque also criticizes what he describes as Obial's wrong notion about the Zika virus. This particular issue was clarified by Obial during the hearing.
The bottom line with the Zika virus is that there was no outbreak. We were able to contain it.
Secretary Obial challenges Roque to file a complaint against her before the Office of the Ombudsman or the Office of the President if he has strong evidence against her. Senate Majority Leader Vicente Soto III questioned Obial about the government's program to distribute condoms to high school students. Soto says the budget for the said program for this year is 159 million pesos, but Obial notes the DOH spent 10 million pesos only of the said amount and that they no longer have plans to continue the controversial program.
If you're referring to condom distribution in schools, Your
Yes,
Honor,
condom distribution in schools.
We will not implement.
You will abandon that
Yes.
completely.
Soto also scrutinized what he describes as the luxurious travels of Obial to other countries. The health secretary traveled abroad 6 times in just 2.5 months. Obial argues several of her trips abroad were ordered by President Rodrigo Duterte himself. She notes that only half of the amount she spent for her travels came from government coffers, while the other half were funded by international agencies. However, the senator expressed concern that the non-government organizations funding her trips are doing so with vested interest. He also emphasized that Obial should show documents proving that her travels abroad were official trips.
Sabi ko nga, baka may mga interest at may mga advocacy sa atin yan.
The secretary admits she brought with her in trips her 22-year-old son as a consultant of DOH, but notes that she was the one funding his expenses.
So he signed the contract, 1 peso consultant. He is without pay.
The CA will resume the hearing on Obial's appointment next week. Senator Soto says that if the CA fails to decide on the appointment of Obial before the Congress takes a session break, it might be the 3rd time her appointment would be bypassed. He says the CA might then decide on her appointment upon the resumption of their session in November. Nel Maribuhok, UNTV News and Rescue, Senate of the Philippines.
Meanwhile, lawyers filed complaints against Deputy Ombudsman Melchor Arthur Carandang and several others before the Office of the President. Rosalie Cos tells us why.
2 separate administrative complaints were filed today against overall Deputy Ombudsman Melchor Arthur Carandang. Former lawmakers Jacinto Paras and Glenn Chong went to Malacañang to file grave misconduct, gross dishonesty, and betrayal of public trust. The complaint stemmed when Carandang released some details in the bank records of the president and his family. These documents were later denied to be coming from the Anti-Money Laundering Council. They said the Office of the President has the right to conduct investigations and act on it against the Deputy Ombudsman. They insist the filing is their own will and President Duterte has nothing to do with it.
If you remember, I have made my advocacy to file complaints against erring officials, especially those high and mighty na nagwa-wiretap.
So no direction from the President?
No, there's no direction.
Another complaint was filed by Attorney Manuelito Luna against Carandang and Deputy Ombudsman for Mindanao Rodolfo Elman and members of the fact-finding investigation team in Mindanao because of graft and corruption.
Kasi sila ang may hawak nitong kasong ito, but they bungled yung kanilang job. Nilik nilang information, umabot dito sa central office when it is still in the fact-finding phase. Paano nangyari ito? Tapos nakialam na dito si Carandang and he has been very reckless.
Malacañang has denied that President Duterte has connections with his actions.
Apparently, the person who filed it is an independent person, so there's no need to connect any dots.
For now, Carandang has not released any statement regarding the complaints. Rosa Licos, UNTV News and Rescue, Malacañang.
Malacañang says the Office of the Ombudsman should not take part in the demolition job against President Rodrigo Duterte. Rosalie Cos is back to tell us why.
Presidential spokesperson Undersecretary Ernesto Abella said the Ombudsman seems to show its political color and sides with the opposition against President Duterte.
The Office of the Ombudsman is showing its true political color. We must remind them that it is an independent and anti-graft body that is supposed to conduct an impartial and fair investigation.
The Malacañang said the Ombudsman should be impartial in all of its action. Malacañang appeals to the Ombudsman not to be part of the demolition job against the Duterte administration.
It should not play into the hands of those who cannot accept the fact that the President won in the 2016 election. It should not be party to a demolition job. We have seen this before. This is déjà vu.
Meanwhile, some Liberal Party senators expressed concern over the attacks and warnings the Duterte administration are blowing against some government institutions. Senator Bam Aquino said the government shouldn't be threatening, but instead showing its support to its agencies. Senator Kiko Pangilinan, meanwhile, urges the president to just help in the investigation of the Ombudsman. Meanwhile, Ombudsman Morales said she will not be baited into abandoning her constitutional duties. She also said she is willing to answer the charges against her in accordance with the law and expects the president to do the same. Rosa Licos, UNTV News and Rescue, Malacañang.
Meanwhile, the lower house of Congress seeks to grant emergency powers to President Rodrigo Duterte in order to demolish the Bureau of Customs. Here's why from Grace Cassidy.
The government has allegedly lost more than 40 billion pesos in just a year since former Bureau of Customs or BOC Commissioner Nicanor Feldon took office. This is based on the committee report released by the House Committee on Ways and Means after its investigation into the smuggling of more than 600 kilograms of shabu from China, which was confiscated by the BOC.
Napakalalim na ng ugat ng korupsyon na sa Bureau of Customs. In fact, to be fair naman, hindi lang naman ngayon yan. Even in the past, nagkaroon din tayo ng assessment kung magkano ang more or less na punta sa TARA. So, that was an amount of about 7.7 billion pesos.
The only solution to the problem the House Committee sees is the demolition of the BOC and its replacement of two new agencies. The House Committee calls it Bureau of Customs Service that would be the one in charge of the collection of taxes and will be under the Finance Department. The other one will be called the Bureau of Security Control. It would have police powers like monitoring and inspections of all cargoes entering and exiting all ports. The committee also recommends the providing of emergency powers to President Rodrigo Duterte to fix the system of the POC.
Sa tulong ng Pangulo, kung bibigyan natin emergency powers, he can reorganize the Bureau. He can remove people he thinks must be removed without thinking of civil service violations, etc., etc. Dahil medyo state of emergency na to eh.
In response, Malacañang has this to say.
No, ma'am, we cannot make any comments on the matter at this stage.
Meanwhile, in the committee report, lawmakers recommend multiple charges to be filed against Feldon, several BOC officials, and customs broker who admitted giving bribes. Feldon's lawyer, on the other hand, says,
"We hope that those behind the committee report would be enough to file by themselves the criminal complaint against Captain Feldon by way of a complaint affidavit na sila mismo ang manunumpa. That way, we will also file a countercharge against them for perjury and malicious prosecution."
Grace Casin, UNTV News and Rescue, House of Representatives.
In other news, Councilor Nilo Small Abellera has resumed his duties in the Council of Davao City. Abellera says he has no bad feelings against his colleagues after his removal from several city council committees. Ray Pelayo tells us why.
Davao City Councilor Nilo Small Abellera is back to work after taking a vacation for almost a month due to health concerns. Abellera is among those allegedly involved in the corruption in the Bureau of Customs. In his return to the council, Abellera vows to continue to fully cooperate with all the members despite his ouster as the chairman of the Committee on Peace and Public Safety. He was also removed as the vice chairman of the Committee on Public Works and Barangay Affairs and as a member of the Committees on Finance, Games and Amusement, and Tourism and Beautification.
Masama yung feeling ko sa mga kasama sa council, sa buong council. Because sabi ko nga, this is a body decision. It is not a decision of a one man or two man. Hindi ito ganun. Ngayon kung lahat ng tao magsama ang feeling dahil lang sa ganun, anong mangyari sa council natin?
The City Council previously said the appearance of Abellera at several Senate hearings has nothing to do with its decision to oust him in several committees. It says Abellera has been sick in the past few days, which affected his duties in the council. Abellera admits always taking a leave of absence in the past few days.
Ang sinasabi nila because to give way. Kasi narinig ko yung mga interviews ng ibang mga kasama ko and I do not know the real reason kasi I was absent nga nung mga panahon na ito. No? Pero yung absences naman na I can show naman kung bakit ako absent. I mean, they know. Alam nila kung bakit ako absent. Alam nilang iniimbita ako sa hearing. Alam nila, in fact, pinakita ko nga sa inyo that I have those medical certificates na in-advise sa akin ng doctor.
Meanwhile, the council awaits the formal invitation of the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee for the next hearing on the 6.4 billion pesos shabu shipment controversy on the 12th of October. Ray Pelayo, UNTV, News and Rescue, Philippines.
Former Customs Intelligence Chief Neil Estrella is seeking the dismissal of drug-related complaints filed against him and 11 other customs officials over the smuggling of 600 kilos of shabu. Roderick Mendoza will tell us why.
Former Customs Intel Chief Neil Estrella will seek the dismissal of the complaints filed by the Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency against him and 11 other customs officials, including resigned Commissioner Nicanor Faeldon. They are facing charges for graft and conspiracy to import illegal drugs over the 600-kilogram shabu shipment smuggled at the customs last May. Estrella says it is ironic that the PDEA charged them who were instrumental in the seizure of the drug shipment in the arrest of each importer and forwarders.
No bail ito. Lifetime ito pagka nakumbik kami. And this is a very serious allegation based sa mga kasinungalingan.
He explains there was nothing irregular in the inspection they conducted at the Valenzuela City warehouse where the shipment was seized. He says the operation doesn't need a search warrant and its owner, Richard Tan, allowed the inspection.
Pag taga-customs po kayo at gusto nyo mag-inspect sa bodega na alam nyo merong smuggled items, imported items, pwede nyo pong gawin nyo na walang search warrant.
Estrella denies the allegation they spoiled the evidence which became inadmissible to courts. He says the whole operation is documented and the drugs and arrested suspects were properly turned over to the NBI and PDEA. Hence, the obstruction complaint of PDEA is also baseless.
Kaya nga po, nag-file sila ng kaso. Doon po ba sa kasong pinail nila, sinabi nila contaminated ng evidence? Hindi naman din sinabi. Sa press lang nila sinasabi yun eh. Nag-file sila ng kaso sa DOJ. Sinabi ba nilang contaminated? Hindi din. Sa press lang. Kaya nga na-trial by publicity kami.
Estrella and other customs officials are set to appear before the DOJ this Thursday for the preliminary investigation and to answer the complaint. He is confident they can refute the allegations. But should a case be filed in court, he will be forced to go into hiding.
I don't intend to spend my life sa loob ng kulungan sa bagay na hindi ko ginawa.
Roderick Mendoza, UNTV, News and Rescue, Manila.
The military has regained control of the bomb-making factory of the Maute Terror Group in the main battle area in Marawi City. Armed Forces of the Philippines or AFP Public Affairs Office Chief Marine Colonel Edgard Arevalo says military's retaking of control over the Batu Mosque, which the Maute Group turned into a bomb-making factory, is a huge loss to the terrorists.
Ganun din, ginamit nilang bomb-making factory. Dito nila ina-assemble yung mga improvised explosive devices. Nabawi na natin ito.
In the said mosque, the military discovered many components used in producing improvised explosive devices or IEDs like coins, which are being used as shrapnel. The Philippine National Police and the Land Rail Transit Authority or LRTA entered into an agreement on safety and security in train stations today. Monokson explains why.
The niece of Ofelia Juanillo was a victim of theft.
Dudukot na siya ng pera, kukuha ng pambayad, biglang hinablot yung wallet. Tapos sabi nung ng security, aalamin daw nila kung saan tumakbo.
Ofelia did not anticipate that someone would attempt to steal inside the well-guarded station of the Light Rail Transit or LRT. She recalled the passengers of the train gave her niece money to buy a ticket to be able to get out of the LRT station. This is the reason why Ofelia is glad after learning that policemen will soon be the ones to guard the LRT Line 2. This after the management of the LRT and the Philippine National Police or PNP signed an agreement to intensify the security at all stations of LRT.
At least preemptive yun para sa mga posibleng criminality na mag-occur sa linya. No?
To the commuters and the general public, we ask for your continued cooperation with the police. We enjoin you to be constantly alert and vigilant.
The PNP will set up police assistance desks so police could inform the passengers about various crime prevention measures. Authorities will also provide women's assistance desks in selected LRT stations where women who experience abuse inside the train or station could report their complaint. The PNP will also lead the conduct of a quarterly emergency drill for all employees and passengers of LRT Line 2. Passengers could also expect more cops at all stations to increase police visibility. All policemen in uniform are free to ride in all LRT Line 2 stations. The PNP hopes that the Metro Rail Transit and LRT Line 1 will also follow suit. Monokson, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
Next on Y News. Authorities secure information on the suspect in the killing of pharmacist Loigene Geronimo in Bulacan.
Formal charges filed against 10 armed men who attempted to enter the AFP compound in Camp Aguinaldo yesterday.
And the Commission on Elections, or COMELEC, sets to start delivery of election ballots in October 11.
Y News will be right back. Authorities see a light of hope that will help uncover the real motive behind the killing of a pharmacist in San Jose del Monte in Bulacan. Ray Pelayo tells us why.
The San Jose del Monte police says they already have information on the identity of the suspect in the killing of Loigene Geronimo. Loigene was the pharmacist killed inside her pharmacy store in the village of Mozon in San Jose del Monte, Bulacan last Tuesday night. However, the police refused to release the suspect's identity until they locate his whereabouts.
Sa ngayon, yung mga possible witnesses natin ay ating kinakalam. Dahil sa punto pong ito ng ating investigasyon ay hindi pa tayo nakasiguro kung sino talaga yung ating suspect, although marami tayong tinitingnan.
Meanwhile, Loigene's friends and relatives flocked to her wake last night. They were singing a video tribute for Loigene to remember her happy and meaningful life. At past 10 in the morning today, the remains of Loigene arrived at the Santuario de San Nicolas Memorial Chapel. Until her burial this morning, her loved ones and supporters did not leave the Geronimo family. Some of them came all the way from Manila, Pampanga, and Tarlac to see her for the last time. Her husband Sandel is thankful to the people who showed support to their family. Sandel hopes to attain justice in the death at the soonest possible time. It was too painful for the parents of Loigene to lose their one and only daughter. They call for the immediate resolution of the Loigene's case.
Pinagtapos namin ng pag-aaral para makapamuhay ng mabuti at hindi nakakaperwisyo sa kapwa. Sa ikinauukulan, sana po bigyan nyo ng katarungan ng pangyayaring naganap sa aking pamilya at sa aking anak na si Loigene.
Ray Pilayo, UNTV, News and Rescue, Philippines.
The Philippine Pharmacists Association seeks the government's help in making the public understand the importance of doctors' prescription and purchasing medicines. Revilla will tell us why.
Hindi ko akalain na ang paggawa ng tama ay re-resulta sa ganitong sitwasyon, no?
The Philippine Pharmacists Association was stunned after learning of the killing of pharmacist who was just doing her job. It can be recalled that pharmacist Loigene Geronimo was killed by a still unidentified suspect after she refused to give him the medicine he was asking for because he had no doctor's prescription. The group says 5 days before Geronimo was shot, the suspect threatened her when she refused to give him the antibiotics he was buying without prescription.
Sana kumilos naman or tulungan kami ng ating mga kapulisan na mahuli kung sino man ang gumawa nito sa aming kasamahan na si Loy. Ang takot ko kasi is baka kung hindi man natin mahuli ito, hindi si Loy ang una at katapusan na patayin niya.
Aside from seeking justice, the association also seek help from the government in making the public understand and become aware of the provisions under the Pharmacy Act of 2016. The law states that pharmacists should not sell over-the-counter drugs to consumers with no doctor's prescription. This includes medicines such as antibiotics.
Iko-consider na violation pag sila ay nagbenta ng antibiotic ng walang reseta. Parang na-realize namin na kulang pala ang kaalaman ng publiko sa bagong batas na ito at kulang din ang kaalaman nila tungkol sa papel na ginagampanan ng mga pharmacy sa kalusugan.
The violators of the law might face fines of up to 500,000 pesos or 1 year to 6 years imprisonment. Revilla, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
Philippine National Police Chief Ronald Bato de la Rosa calls the critics of the government's war on drugs ingrates. Here's why from Manokson.
Yung pulis ko na sinaksak, may pulis pa ako dyan sa Caloocan na nabaril sa ulo nung inaresto yung addict na wanted, patay, diretso. Hindi man yung binabalik-balik para naman sana bigyan naman ng hustisya yung pagkamatay ng pulis ko.
After expressing dismay yesterday before the members of the media, PNP Chief Ronald Bato de la Rosa responded to the critics of the government's war on drugs.
You can criticize us to high heavens, but I can tell you straight sa inyong mga mata, ingrato kayo. Alam ko nakikinabang rin kayo sa peace and order na idinulot sa ating war on drugs. Ingrato ka. Nakikinabang ka sa peace and order. Mga anak mo, sarap pumapasok sa eskwelahan na walang kaba, walang takot dahil bihira na yung krimen sa kalsada.
According to De La Rosa, he is not pointing at a particular person but to all critics of the police's campaign against illegal drugs. The PNP chief also believes in the truthfulness of the result of the survey conducted by the Social Weather Station or SWS. The SWS surveyed the public on the quote, "The rich drug pushers are not being killed, but only the poor ones." End of quote.
Totoo yun. Ilan yung mayaman na involved sa drug street pushing. So, pag magkanda kang pulis ng bypass operation, so most likely, yung mahirap na nagpupus ng droga ang makuha. We are talking about numbers. Mas maraming mahirap na na-involve sa drug pushing.
De La Rosa also responded to issues that the police do not kill wealth drug pushers.
Mahirap ba si Paruhinog? Mahirap ba si Mayor ng Albuera Leyte? Si Spinosa? Mahirap ba yan? Hindi naman. Kaya nga, criticize na criticize, hindi naman natin ina-analyze yung data.
De La Rosa has once again argued that deaths in their operations could not be avoided as the police are not in control of the situation, whether it is a drug suspect resisting arrest or the police who is being fought back by the drug suspect. Mon Hokson, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
The Department of Justice and the Public Attorney's Office tagged Senator Risa Ontiveros as the cause of delays in proceedings of the cases concerning the deaths of teenagers Kian de los Santos, Carl Arnaiz, and Reynaldo Culot de Guzman. Joanano explains why.
Justice Secretary Vitaliano Aguirre has once again slammed Senator Risa Ontiveros over her alleged hiding of witnesses in the cases involving the deaths of teenagers Kian de los Santos, Carl Arnaiz, and Reynaldo Culot de Guzman. Aguirre says it has been the reason why the investigation into the deaths of the three minors is moving in a snail pace. The Justice Secretary calls on the senator to not hide the witnesses if she wants the truth to come out.
Bakit niyo pinipigilan hanggang ngayon yung tatlong testigo? Laban din sa mga pulis nito, hindi pa nila nilalabas. Katulad nitong kay Tomas Bagcal. Ilang linggo ninyong pinigilan nito. Kung hindi pa tinimonda ni Chief Pau Percy, ay hindi nyo bibitawan. Kaya ang ginagawa ninyo, naantala ninyo, sinira ninyo ang investigasyon ng pulis, ng NBI.
The Public Attorney's Officer Pau also notes they are having difficulty in defending the case because of what it claims as meddling of some personalities.
Kami hirap na hirap dun sa pagtulong sa mga batang naging biktima. Ramdam po namin may nanggugulo nga sa investigasyon. Tulong-tulong tayo sa iisang layunin na magkaroon ng katarungan at mapigilan ang masasamang elemento sa ating kapaligiran.
Meanwhile, a group called Citizen National Guard launched a Save the Nation movement earlier today. The group aims to encourage the public to support the campaign, programs, and efforts for change President Rodrigo Duterte pushes for. It also seeks to fight off what it claims as move to destroy the country like terrorism, rebellion, proliferation of illegal drugs, and other threats to the country's security. The group is composed of retired soldiers and several Filipino Muslims supporting the programs of the president. The group is composed of retired soldiers and several Filipino Muslims supporting the programs of the president. The DOJ and PAO meanwhile are in full support of the Citizen National Guard. Joanano, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
The Court of Appeals has affirmed the indictment of retired Major General Jovito Palparan Jr. over the abduction of UP student Sherilyn Cadapan and Karen Empeño in 2007. The CA 4th Division dismissed Palparan's appeal, asking for the reversal of the orders issued by Malolos RTC directing his arrest for kidnapping and serious illegal detention. The court says that the RTC's decision on Palparan's motion to quash is not appealable based on the previous rulings of the Supreme Court. Palparan is currently detained at Camp Aguinaldo while undergoing trial at the Malolos RTC. Meanwhile, 10 armed men who attempted to enter Camp Aguinaldo to allegedly meet with Defense Secretary Delfin Lorenzana are now facing charges. Lea Ilagan will tell us why.
Armed Forces of the Philippines or AFP Public Affairs Office Chief Colonel Edgar Arevalo says the 10 armed men who attempted to enter Camp Aguinaldo yesterday have no proper documents of exemption from the Commission on Election current gun ban.
They were asked kung may dala silang baril and outrightly sinabi nilang meron sila na dalang baril. So when they were requested to present their authority to possess firearms or exemption from Comelec gun ban, wala silang naipakita.
Quezon City Police District or QCPD Director Police Chief Superintendent Guillermo Eliazar says they have already filed multiple complaints against the violators.
Illegal possession of firearms or PDA 1866 as amended by RA 10591 and also itong ating ordinance, City Ordinance 5121, illegal possession of bladed weapon. So, and also itong violation ng Omnibus Election Code.
According to the supposed leader of the group identified as Daniel Pagalan with an alias of Commander Walang Patawad, they just want to talk to Defense Secretary Delfin Lorenzana. He says they want to secure accreditation as a group that fights off criminality.
Sa totoo ma'am, nung nanggaling kami sa Davao, dumaan kami sa 10th Division, walang advice sa amin kay ino-offer namin yung baril. Sir, may baril kami sir, may kargada.
Sa daan?
Kita ko yung dala-dala namin. Okay, anong department kayo? Department of Intelligence sir. For record purposes, baka ikuan kayo sa daan. Ihuli kayo. Kaya nga, in good faith ang lakad namin ma'am. Walang malis.
The QCPD is conducting a thorough investigation to determine if someone ordered them to go to Camp Aguinaldo with firearms. The armed men, who are members of the so-called Asian Anti-Communist League of the Philippines, were all wearing black shirt and carrying 245 caliber 39mm and ammunitions. Leia Ilagan, UNTV, News and Rescue, Camp Aguinaldo.
Meanwhile, the Commission on Elections, or COMELEC's Packing and Shipping Committee, will begin on the 11th of October the distribution of official ballots to provinces. The Commission finished the printing of ballots for the October 23rd Village and Sangguniang Kabataan elections on September 30. The poll body continues its preparations for the upcoming elections as the bill postponing it is yet to become a law. The agency also insists that the gun ban is still strictly being implemented since October 1st, the start of the election period. Authorities have already arrested 9 individuals for violating the gun ban policy. Confiscated from them were 9 firearms and 2 bladed weapons. The poll body continues to accept applications for gun ban exemption. The Supreme Court was asked to act on the disbarment complaint filed against Attorney Larry Gadon, the principal complainant in the impeachment of Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Sereno. In a letter to the High Court, lawyers Musa Malayang and Algamar Laptif said they have not even received Gadon's comment to their complaint filed in April of last year. The complaint stemmed from Gadon's alleged statement when he was running for the Senate that he would have all the Muslims killed to the end the rebellion in Mindanao. Attorney Gadon says he is not aware of disbarment complaint against him. He says he is now a friend to the Muslims and in fact he got more votes than the Muslim candidates in Mindanao in the past election. The Public Attorney's Office has inducted more than 300 new lawyers into public service. Joanne Nano tells us why.
397 lawyers took oath as new members of the Public Attorney's Office, or PAO. PAO Chief Attorney Persida Acosta led the oath-taking ceremony where she reminded the new members of the group to not be selective in choosing clients and to always be punctual in every case they would handle. The primary mandate of PAO is to provide legal assistance and defend poor Filipinos who have no means to pay for legal counsel. In her speech, Attorney Acosta reminds the new lawyers of PAO that accepting of money from their clients is strictly prohibited. Acosta insists to the new PAO lawyers that they could accept from their clients evidence only. PAO lawyers are also obliged to help their clients in processing any public documents and any other important papers that would serve as evidence in the case they are handling.
Bawal sumibangot sa kliyente. Kahit medyo may amoy yung kliyente dahil di nakapaligo, di nakapag-toothbrush, o puti ka ng paa, huwag kayo magpapakita ng disgusto. Dahil sa kanila, kaya tayo nandito. At magkakaroon ng kabuluhan ang ating buhay habang tayo nakapaglilingkod sa ating mga kababayan.
Acosta also advises the new lawyers to be punctual so they could not lose evidence and witnesses, especially in cases involving the youth and the poor who need justice.
Dito sa PAO, bawal ang tamad. Bawal. Masipag, maagap. Kung di tayo maagap, dinaagaw sa atin yung testigo, pati bangkay. Di ba? Alam niyo ba yan? Di maagap. Yari tayong lahat, pati ang mga kabataan na sinasagip natin.
She also warned the new lawyers of not violating their mandate, noting they would face removal from position. Acosta says 10 lawyers have been ousted from PAO due to corruption and violation of their code of conduct. Joanano, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
In other news, the presentation of evidence and witnesses in the plunder case against former Senator Bong Revilla has been completed. The Sandigan Bayan's 1st Division gave the prosecution 20 days for the formal offer of evidence to prove that Revilla was involved in a 224 million peso PDAF scam when he was still a senator. Revilla's camp has 20 days to comment and object on the formal offer document submitted by the prosecution. Afterwards, the anti-graft court will release a resolution 10 days after Revilla's camp submitted its response. The camp of Revilla will no longer seek to temporarily be out of prison. Revilla's lawyers will file instead a motion for leave to file demur to evidence, which would ask the court to dismiss the case.
We do not think it is necessary to file a motion for bail. Rather, we will file demurrer, which means the case is over. Nothing to have a bail for.
And the implementation of the anti-littering ordinance in Butuan City has a huge impact in the cleanliness of the city. Joanano tells us why.
The city government of Butuan has issued sanitation tickets to more than 200,000 violators already since the stricter implementation of the anti-littering ordinance. 22% of the said number paid fines from 500 pesos to 1,200 pesos, while the other violators have undergone community service. Under the ordinance, those issued with violation tickets who failed to pay fines or comply with the penalties will face complaints. Many of the violators committed failure to properly segregate their trashes, thrown cigarette butt, and peed in public places.
Well, ang pinaka-objective ni actually dili man lang kanya siya. Daghay nagsumpay-sumpay manggudan nga mga ordinansa. Ang katuyuan ni tanan is to ensure nga ang atong syudad limpyo, hapsay, luwas, livable siya nga syudad kay dili nato na makabot ang usa ka kay part man kanisa sa vision sa atong mayor vision sa atong dakbayan nga papamahimutang lagsik nga dakbayan.
Aside from garbage, drivers or owners of heavy equipment found littering in the city will also face penalties. The anti-littering ordinance is being implemented by deputized sanitation and pollution enforcers from the City Environment and Natural Resources Office or CENRO.
Maayo siya para pag pananlitan, madakpan tanan tiglabay og basura sa kilit-kilit, mawalan na mga tiglabay sa basura sa kilit-kilit, so wala na yung mga kalat. Maayo man yung iba.
Maayo kayo ilang gi-implement dire sa sa syudad sa Butuan kay syempre kita man gyud tanan siguro gusto og limpyo kay para iwas sakit ba.
Joanano, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
The PNP Police Community Relations Group's newest program was put into test this morning. In the program, Get It Straight with Daniel Razon. Monokson will tell us why.
The involvement of some policemen in the deaths of some minors like Kian Lloyd de los Santos, Carl Arnaiz, and Reynaldo de Guzman has been a huge challenge for the Philippine National Police or PNP. It is now in the hands of the Police Community Relations Group or PCRG as to how to regain the public's trust for the country's police force. PCRG Acting Director Rodel Cermonia promotes some of his units' newest services through UNTV's program Get It Straight with Daniel Razon. One of which is PNP's program on Radyo La Verdad 1350 entitled Police at Your Service, Action Agad. This morning, several residents of Barangay 28 Caloocan City aired their concerns before PCRG Acting Director Cermonia live on the program.
Itatanong ko lang po sana kung ano po yung standard procedure ng warrant at ano po yung pagkakaiba ng warrant sa search warrant po.
Ano pong garantiya ang may bibigay nyo sa amin kung sakaling kami po ay magsusumbong sa inyo tungkol sa droga?
Kung paano po ba kami makakasiguro na magiging maganda ang serbisyo ng mga bagong kapulisan ng PNP dito sa lungsod ng Caloocan.
Another program is PCRG's Police Natin Caravan, a road show that visits parts of the country for the purpose of bringing the PNP services closer to the Filipinos. Life After Tokhang is a rehabilitation program for drug users and pushers who have surrendered under PNP's War on Drugs campaign. PCRG is also set to launch App Alert, a mobile application that can be used for quick police response on crime incidents. For this project, PCRG works in cooperation with the Liga ng mga Barangay sa Pilipinas. App Alert is now being tested in several establishments in Metro Manila.
Lalo na yung mga may gumagamit ng mga cellphone.
Yes, yes.
Halos lahat naman gumagamit. So meron lang App Alert, i-install nyo sa inyong mga cellular, then agad-agad po na maire-report yan sa aming system.
UNTV and PNP have been partners in various public service programs such as UNTV Cup and the upcoming Songs for Heroes 3 concert. Mon Hokson, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
Coming up on Y News. France arrests a number of people allegedly linked to the discovery of an explosive device in a residential building in Paris.
Puerto Ricans wash their clothes in rivers as utilities remains offline in the aftermath of Hurricane Maria.
And all-time favorite comic characters come to life in the 2017 Comic-Con Festival in Russia.
More from Y News after this break.
Those are the reasons behind the news, October 3, 2017. I'm Angelo Castro III.
Reasons we deliver to you as they unfold. I am William Theo.
And I'm Darlene Basingan, because we need to know.
We will always ask why. Thank you for watching
Y News.